All right, this is video H3. We're going to talk about the percent box today, which is how I solve percent questions. I've taught for a long time, and I've had multiple different tricks and ways to do all of this. And then one time I was working with his name was Greg, and he showed me this, and it was like mind blown, because I didn't have to remember all this weird stuff. It was so straightforward, and it involves just drawing a little bitty box all the time. Okay, so, and the box is basically a ratio, but I've just made it into a box because it makes it easier for me to see. 100 always goes there. Here is your percent sign all the time. So this side is the one that deals with the percent. This side is the other numbers from the question. Okay, and the top row is the part, and it almost always follows the word is, and the bottom number is the whole, and it almost always follows the word of. If I try really, really hard, I can probably mix these or change that around so that's not as straightforward, but 95% of your questions, you'll be able to pick it out pretty easy. Okay, so there's only 3 types of questions, and I'm going to do one of each right now. But then we're going to split them off and do practice on each one. All right, so it says, what percent of 45 is 10? First things first, 100 goes there. And you know what? I'm doing that. You can't see it, but I'm doing it for all the questions, because bottom left, always 100, done. Now it says, what percent of 45? So of 45, that's the total number I have to work with. That's the whole. So 45 goes here. And it says, is 10. Well, is the part I'm looking for. So 10 goes there. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to preview how to solve these, and then we'll do lots and lots of practice, but just leaving it like this makes me twitch. So I'm going to throw in an X in there for my variable. So there's multiple ways to solve this. I am a big fan of cross multiplication. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this times this, and we're going to write 45x. Okay, so I multiply these 2 terms, and what's the word? It's convention. It's most common that you put the number in front of the X. And then I'm going to multiply these 2. And I shouldn't, it's not so much multiply, is I'm just going to write them. When I cross multiply, my first step is getting rid of the fraction. And in my world, that's pretty much the only reason I cross multiply, because I hate fractions. Very few people, unless you're carpentry background, maybe cooking. Not everybody's that fond of fractions. So boom, one step, we got rid of it. Now we're going to simplify. 45x is 1,000. So simplify this segment. Okay, there was nothing to do. Multiply through here. Now we need to get that x by itself. Because the 45 is sitting right beside it, that means that's multiplication. So we're going to do the inverse. If you remember when we looked at integers and I showed, no, maybe it was whole numbers. Anyway, at some point I showed you that this times this means multiplication. So I'm going to do the opposite. Divide each side by 45. And I wish I'd let myself more room. So 45 divided by 5, that's gonna, 45 divided by 45 disappears, it goes to 1. But I'm not gonna write 1x, I'm just gonna put x is equal to, now I go 1,000 divided by 5, and it's, sorry, I moved it really fast, 22.2%. See, that's the other nice thing about this. I don't have to go, am I supposed to multiply through by 100 at this point or not? No, it's done. Okay. Another thing that'll help you, and this is like, it's not like I'm going to be able to test you on this, but if I forget about this and just here, let me just think about this, 10 over 45. So number one, I have to think, when the numerator is smaller than the denominator, this is going to be less than 100, right? Because this is less than 1. And if you think about it, half of 45, be like 22.5, but this is definitely less than half. So this is less than 50%. And it's even less than a quarter. So this is less than 20. Don't worry about that last part. Okay. If you can mostly just remember that if it's a proper fraction, so the top number is smaller, this one's going to be less than 100. All right, next question. What is 75% of 250? All right, look. You got 75%. Good. 75 goes here. Done, because that's the rule. This is the box where the number with the percent sign goes. Done. Now, the 250 goes over here somewhere. But the question is, does it go up here or does it go down there? Well, this is asking for part of 250. So the 250 goes there. And I'll use an X again as my variable. All right, so the nice part is once you know how to solve this equation, these ones are pretty much the same. So I'm going to cross multiply here. And I try, although I don't always do it, I try to write this one first. So I go downhill, then I go uphill. It makes absolutely no difference. If you wanted to put 100x equals 75 times, like, do you want to flip these two? Enjoy. It doesn't make any difference. I just honestly found when I was teaching that if sometimes I went this way and sometimes it confused people because they didn't understand. Now I try and do it the same way all the time, so I don't have problems. All right, so I'm going to multiply through. I'm going to go 75 times 250. So that's going to give me 18,750 is 100x. So I want to get the x by itself. So I'm going to divide through by 100. I'm going to divide through by 100. And that should give me 189 divided by 100. Move my decimal 2 spaces, 187.5. There's my answer. All right, whoops. And that makes sense to me because I know 75% is, and I bet you do. You know what fraction is? It's like 3/4. So I need 3/4 of this, and yeah, that's possible. That seems like a reasonable answer. All right, last one. 24 is 60% of what number? Okay, I got my percent and I put that in right away. Now, I have to figure out where this goes. Because looking at this, I think it's my top number because this sounds like it's a part, but what really makes it is right there. It says of what number? Well, boom. That's where my X goes. And then we put the 24 here. All right. Good. No, I'm gonna have a drink of tea, and you should do the question. Pause the video. $60x. And then this way. Oh, and multiplication order doesn't matter. So I guess I should have put 100 and then the 24. Makes no difference. I'm still going to get the same answer. 60x 2400 divided by 60 divided by 60. Is 40. All right. So I want to go back here and see if that makes sense. It says 24 is 60% of what number? Well, I know 60% is like a little more than half, right? Half is 50. This is a little bit more. And if I think about 40, half of that is 20. So this is a little bit more. So that seems to fit. And ta-da! Now you've seen the magic of the percent box. It will make your life easier. And if you have children, nieces, nephews, grandkids, whoever, random strangers on the street that are struggling with percents, show them this method and all will become clear. Thanks. Have a great day. Yes, I am sure I want to stop recording.